John was an electrician who grew up and was trained in the city. He had no wealth, no social advantage, and no plan, but he felt compelled to move back to his father's village. Once he had settled, he noticed, while fetching water at a local stream, a soft whining noise coming from upstream. He asked about it and was told, "It's just something the missionaries built many years ago. You know, we used to have electricity in this village back then." John decided to look into it. He hiked to the noise and realized it was a turbine built within a small waterfall a generation ago. It was still turning and presumably still functioning. "Is this still functioning?" he asked. "I don't know." "Well, maybe we should use it." "There is no way. This is a Westerner thing. We don't have the means." John was not convinced. He saw the possibilities. A village with no electricity, yet with a turning turbine at its footstep. For now, the turbine was only a monument to how superior the old visitors were, and how incapable the villagers were. John set to work. He convinced the people that they could have electricity again in the village. To this end, he encouraged everyone to donate all the wire they could spare. Eventually, he was able to piece together enough thick wire so that he could connect the turbine some distance away to the clinic, which still had its old electrical outlets. Once connected, he turned on the lights. Since then, the wiring has been improved, but the village still has electricity. With what lens are you viewing your own community? Where do you see a glass half empty? Can you turn your half empty thinking into a glass half full thinking? I remember traveling to clinics on a motorbike about 20 years ago. I was fully discouraged at their state of disrepair, lack of supply, and paucity of skilled personnel. On one such voyage, my bike blew a tire. This is no small thing in rural Congo, and it meant pushing the bike through kilometer after kilometer of sand. Fortunately, I had a guide with me. His name was Kimbao, and he had a degree in agriculture. The hours of pushing gave us time to talk about his dreams of training farmers to improve the quality and quantity of their crops. I was captured by his vision, but I had to tell him, "I have no means to help you. You just have to do it." That was enough. A few months later, I was back to visit. Kimbao met me and told me he had created 20 farming associations, each of which had benefited from his training. "I thought you didn't have the means," I said. "Well, I have 2 feet, and so I just started walking from farm to farm." Again, the key to the positive principle is a change in mindset. Another way to look at this is the acronym you are all familiar with, ABCD. The important letter in ABCD is A. A is something positive. We could change that for N, need, NBCD. Need would be focused on something perhaps negative. Kimbao was focused on something positive. To understand why people in impoverished communities resist working with what they have, we need to understand their mindset. We do this by asking 3 sequential questions. The first is, who am I? You could answer the question, who am I, by saying your name, your credentials, maybe where you came from, but this does not fully answer the question. In reality, we answer this question by our interaction with people around us. I am concerned about what people think of me. At my work, I'm worried about what my boss thinks of me. When I seek support for my program or project, I'm concerned what potential supporters think of me. I'm interested in what my neighbor thinks of me, what the store clerk down the road thinks of me, and most importantly, what my wife thinks of me. What people think of me is normally how we answer the question, who am I? This is definitely true for me. When I'm in conversation with someone, interacting with people, there is a reflection that comes back to me. If you like what I'm doing, I feel valued. If you don't like it, I feel devalued. I can feel superior or inferior depending on what reflection from you comes back at me. So, if we're going to answer the question, who am I, with you are someone of little worth, I'm going to start to believe it. What people think of me is normally how we answer the question, who am I? If my interactions with people make me feel inferior, that I'm of lower social order, the answer to the question, who am I, is you are someone of little worth. This negative reflection that comes to a person living in poverty is called the poverty of being. Mother Teresa said that poverty is not only being hungry, naked, and homeless. Real poverty is feeling unwanted, unloved, and uncared for. We call this the poverty of being. The poverty of being is reinforced when someone with confidence and a healthy opinion of himself, not necessarily pompous or pretentious, maybe even someone with the best of intentions, comes into a community and claims to have solutions. The well-intentioned help from the outside can reinforce the mindset that what I have to offer from the inside has little value. I then have the poverty of being. Ancient creation stories typically talk of a God creating humans as slaves. Being told that you are a slave sounds like a reinforcement of the poverty of being. In Jewish scripture, God created people not as slaves, but in his own image. In other words, everyone, no matter who you are, has intrinsic value. Intrinsic means a part of who we are, or inherent. Like huge jaws are inherent to a hippopotamus, or a roof is inherent to a house, or water is inherent to life. This inherent value does not come from what people think of you, but by having been created in the image of God. Being human means you have inherent value. The Christian story of Jesus living and dying among us reinforces this truth. We are told that all people, no matter what social position they hold, have inherent value since the day they were born. No one has any more or any less than the next. How then do you answer the question, who am I? By stating, I am someone of great value. What you think of me doesn't change that. I bear the image of the Creator. The second question to ask in understanding an impoverished person's resistance to the positive principle is, what is my purpose? If the answer to step one is that I have intrinsic value, then I am also someone with purpose. We all desire purpose because it provides the drive we need to accomplish two absolutely essential elements of being human. Purpose drives our need to discover the world. For instance, why does my corn grow in this soil than that soil? What can I make to eat from this fruit or this root? What lies over the valley on the other ridge? What kind of wood is best to make a chair? Purpose drives our ambition to create. I want to make a chair. I want to build a carriage on my bike. I want to make shoes. With no purpose, the drive to discover and create fades. A life with no purpose is meaningless. A meaningless life doesn't feel worth living. Purpose, on the other hand, brings meaning and the drive to live as any human should. But I'm still left to that question, what is my purpose? And if I have inherent value, then that purpose must be to nurture that inherent value. What does it mean to nurture inherent value? The first way to think about nurturing is vertical. We nurture our value by recognizing our place in the world. We nurture it by admiring and enjoying the Creator above and the wonders of creation below our feet. The second way is horizontal. Inherent value is nurtured when I appreciate my worth. It is also nurtured when I appreciate the value of those around me. Another word for this is love. There's a simple, to-the-point statement in the Christian Gospels that summarizes this type of love. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the vertical. The statement continues. Love your neighbor as yourself. This is the horizontal, admiring the inherent value of the people around you. In community, my purpose is to discover and to create and to enable others to do the same. Finally, the third question to ask in understanding the resistance to the positive principle is, do I have the tools? Here there is a lie that needs to be called out. It says I am a failure and don't have the means. I call out the lie by acknowledging that I do indeed have value and I have purpose. I must therefore have the tools at my disposal to discover and create solutions. Answering the question whether I have the necessary tools begins by stepping away from my poverty of being in faith and looking at my own two hands. What do I possess physically, intellectually, and in my heart? What are my skills and strengths? What am I good at? What are my passions? List at least 3 gifts, strengths, talents, and passions for each of the following categories. So to truly answer these questions and successfully change mindset, I have to involve the community. What do I have that contributes to the community? What do we have together as a community? When my strengths are combined with those of the community, then authentic and sustainable and effective community development takes place. Look at the following contrasting perspectives. How can you practically begin to shift your community from mindset of problems and deficiencies to a mindset of strengths and abilities? Reword the following questions using the positive principle. For example, what are our problems? You can say, instead, what is our vision? Okay then, let's summarize the 3 questions. The first one is, who am I? I am someone of inherent value despite my social position. What is my purpose? My purpose is to love vertically God's creation, to discover and create within it, and love horizontally myself and those around me. Number 3, do I have the tools to be that discoverer and creator as God intended me to be? Yes, I do have those tools. And it is enhanced by living within a community. The positive principle is at the foundational core of community-centered development. It is a change in mindset from a glass half empty mindset we call poverty of being to a glass half full mindset. Love is a key word in this transformation, but there is another word, give thanks. The Bible contains the phrase give thanks 173 times because the process of giving thanks changes mindset. To give thanks turns our focus to the abundance that we have access to, our assets, and then to honor that abundance by recognizing its potential. Listing the assets of your community is a positive exercise. A common way to do this is by dividing into groups of 2 to 4 and drawing out your community on a piece of paper and then mapping out all the assets. What do you have? Who you have? Let all the things you are thankful for be your guide. The positive principle can be summarized as follows. By shifting the mindset away from problems and deficiencies to our passions, strengths, and abilities, we begin to fashion resilient building blocks for community development.